My consort is gentle by nature, treating everyone with courtesy. Even though I took him by force, he never uttered a single word of complaint. He attends to my baths and dressing, taking care of my daily needs. Never once has he defied me in the slightest. But he wasn't like this before marriage. Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. Who in the capital doesn't know that I, Princess Jiaohua, am the emperor's favorite, arrogant, domineering, and looking down on everyone. The people and things I set my eyes on, if I want them, I'll obtain them by any means necessary. Before I even came of age, countless sons of wealthy families and noble houses offered themselves to me. They are too vulgar, only knowing how to climb up by stepping on my shoulders, or they merely indulge in comfort. I despise such people. When I reached marriageable age, my imperial father arranged a marriage for me. I refuse, so among all the wealthy young men, I set my sights on the imperial son-in-law, Jiang Yihuai. The only pity was, he had no desire for power and only wished to become a monk. Oh, and he had another special talent. He was incredibly smooth-tongued. Time and again, I had people kidnap him and bring him to the princess's residence. But each time he would gently persuade them, and wave after wave of my subordinates would return converted by his words. In the end, I personally went to the Jiang residence, tied him to a pillar, and pressed my hand against his chin. How about becoming my consort? He remained neither servile nor overbearing, speaking softly as always. Your Highness, as someone destined for monastic life, I am no longer fit for such pleasures. I beg you to seek another worthy match. That's because you've never been with a woman, I bluntly stated before forcibly kissing him. After a long entanglement, I only relented when I saw his lips swollen. I pinched his cheeks. Since you don't want to be a kept man, then I'll make you a royal consort and let you marry this princess. My hand trailed downward, stopping at his chin as I tilted it up slightly. The imperial decree for your betrothal will arrive at the Jiang family tomorrow. If you dare shave your head, this princess dares to make the entire Jiang family pay with their lives for every strand of your hair. I still remember our wedding night when we consummated our marriage. He was just as gentle like this, unable to refuse, letting me have my way and dominate him. He would even massage my belly and ask tenderly, "Little princess, are you still uncomfortable? You still need more practice." Consort, he merely smiled, and I suddenly thought he had a certain charm, yet his gaze felt distant. But the next morning, when our eyes met, he seemed to hold a pool of water as he patted my back and praised, "You did wonderfully yesterday, little princess." In that moment, I truly thought he'd been possessed. Not at all like himself. Over the next month, he actually began taking care of my daily needs with extraordinary attentiveness. One day, when we were alone, I asked him, "Are you hoping for some favor from me for the Jiang family?" The little princess need not give the Jiang family anything. Your health, safety, and smooth sailing life are more important than anything else. The emperor had no sons, but there were 8 princesses in total. And I was the 5th. Whenever I gathered with them, they would talk endlessly, mostly about their male concubines or lovers. Their private lives were debauched, but I had no desire to follow their example, especially my second sister. Her mansion couldn't even hold all her male concubines and lovers. I heard that recently. She asked our father for more money. Part of it was used to build a mansion. The other portion was spent on setting up an elegant hall in the palace, where we could enjoy playing mahjong for fun. The second princess glanced at me and said, "Fifth sister, it's been 3 months since your wedding. Why haven't you taken on more male consorts or lovers? Staring at the same man every day, how can you stand it? Aren't you bored?" I replied, "Second sister, you worry too much. I've lost interest in men altogether." "Don't say you're not interested, men are such fun." She teased me with a playful glance. "Is the 5th prince consort too reserved?" Well, it's understandable. Young masters from wealthy families aren't used to being disciplined. A lack of spice is only natural. My eyes darkened. The prince consort wasn't like those men. He was proper, sometimes even blushing, calling me shameless. All it took was a little threat, and he'd submit to me, letting me have my way. He was even afraid of hurting me. Just so happens, I've trained 2 male companions. Both excel in everything from music and chess to calligraphy, painting, and tea ceremony. If 5th sister likes them, I'll gift them to you. I spoke coldly, since they're so excellent, second sister should keep them for yourself. I wouldn't dream of taking your favorites. I rose to leave, but behind me, the laughter of my royal sisters and cousins followed. Third princess, second sister. Our fifth sister spent her childhood among commoners and still carries that wretched pauper's air about her. Naturally, she wouldn't understand your refinement. Fourth princess, exactly. If second sister hadn't been lost among the commoners as a child, would His Majesty dote on her so? She gets whatever she asks for. I lowered my eyelids. I had always believed myself equal to those princesses, commanding the wind and rain at will. Yet in their eyes, I remained different. I had clawed my way up from the mire, while they had never once fallen into the filth. As I boarded the palanquin, I spotted a carriage ahead. Emerging from the front hall of the imperial palace, it looked like one from my residence. I thought nothing of it and returned home, where the steward greeted me with a beaming face. Congratulations, fifth princess. Joyous tidings. What's wrong? Fifth princess's consort has achieved top honors in the palace examination. What cause for celebration? I frowned. So these past 2 months he hadn't been fawning over me because he was preparing for the palace examination. So my consort is the same. Thinking I'm unreliable, despising my poverty, and seeking his own way out. Where's the consort? Looking for me, little princess. Blinded by rage at the sight of his smiling face, I struck him without a word, drenched him with cold tea, and smashed the teapot in furious despair. Kneel down. You're not allowed to get up until an incense stick burns out. His body stiffened slightly as he suppressed his smile, his face now devoid of any expression. I lay fuming on the bed. Listening to the sound of rain outside the window, I wanted to get up and check on him, but before I could rise, I heard the sound of the door being opened. I pulled the quilt tighter around me, my nose tingling with unshed tears. I waited to hear his explanation. The corner of the quilt was lifted, letting in a gust of cold air that made me shrink my neck from the chill. You're making this princess cold. A soft, effeminate male voice sounded from behind me. This servant will immediately make the princess feel warm. I sensed something was wrong and sat up. The man trying to lie beside me wasn't Jiang Yihui. I kicked him off the bed. Who are you? Who gave you the audacity to climb onto the bed of Princess Zhaohua? This servant is a male concubine gifted by the second princess to the fifth princess. My name is Mo Huai, so this name was given after the fifth consort's style. How utterly vulgar. This princess dislikes things others have used, and people are no exception. They're dirty. This slave isn't dirty. The second princess said the fifth consort was too clumsy in his service, so she specifically ordered this slave to serve Her Highness with care. The second princess has never touched this slave. How dare a mere male concubine slander my man? I had him dragged out and locked in the woodshed to suffer hunger and cold. He howled and made a scene all night. Meanwhile, Jiang Yihui remained kneeling silently in the rain in the front courtyard, showing no emotion. The rain extinguished the incense, leaving only half a stick, though the time for one stick had long since passed. The butler held an umbrella for him as the rain grew heavier. His high-tied hair was disheveled, with stray strands clinging to his scalp, his entire body dripping with water as if he had just crawled out of a river. I stood there in my thin nightgown, staring at his stubborn face, a chill spreading through my entire body. After all, it was just a man, whether he fell ill or died. It had nothing to do with me. I wasn't obligated to mourn for him. Besides, there were plenty of men in the world, and no shortage of those eager to court my favor. He wants to find another way out, but I won't let him have his way. If he wants to die, even the king of hell can't take him from me. Prepare the consort for me. He'll be attending my chambers later. I had someone prepare ginger soup and brought out the bruise ointment sent by my father. The ginger soup arrived shortly after, and not long after that, Jiang Yihui came. He had changed into dry clothes, his hair loose and untied. He was wearing the rose-scented balm I loved. And after closing the door, he cornered me against the wall. His expression was dark, devoid of any gentleness. Where did he touch you? Jiang Yihui seemed tense, his face taut. Where? I curled my lips in a smile, pausing briefly. Everywhere. His eyes turned red as he pressed forward to kiss me, his front teeth biting my lips with deliberate force. Ouch, Tilda, that hurts. I pressed my hand against his chest, pushing him away, but he wouldn't let go, continuing to bully me. I pushed him away with all my strength. Jiang Yihui, are you a dog or something? His voice was hoarse, tear stains on his face. Chu Yin, do you like him? Then what am I to you? Chu Yin is my childhood name, and no one but my father ever called me that. I don't believe in men's genuine emotions, because when I was wandering among the common people, I lived as a beggar and saw too much of the world's fickleness and cruelty. There are plenty of men in this world who abandon their wives and children. Those women don't even have it as easy as a beggar like me. I only need to fill my own stomach, while they have to raise children, cook for the whole family, earn extra money for household expenses, and still argue with their husbands when they come home. Relying on men is useless. Depending on yourself is the real deal. Seeing that I remained silent, he sought my lips again, biting them. His strength was overwhelming as he pressed close to my ear, his voice icy and unyielding. Chu Yin, since you've provoked me, don't even think about provoking others. With just a slight turn of my head, I could see a wound on his handsome face, left by a porcelain shard, from which a thin trail of blood still seeped. I remember my back aching for 3 days before it got better. From that day on, Jiang Yihui remained as composed and even-tempered with everyone as ever, treating me with the same warm smiles and gentle demeanor. That fierce expression seemed as if it didn't belong to him at all. The only one he nitpicked, whether openly or covertly, was that male favorite. The male favorite wasn't sent back, because returning to my second sister would mean certain death for him. So I took him in. Truth be told, my second sister's methods aren't much cleaner than mine. Since he wanted to stay, he couldn't just freeload meals at my residence. I assigned him to Jiang Yihui. When Jiang Yihui is pleased with him, that's when I'll let him return home in glory. I never expected Jiang Yihui to always keep a cold face when he was with Mo Huai. When Jiang Yihui went to court, I asked him to go along. He refused, saying he was delicate and tender. Unlike the imperial son-in-law, Jiang Yihui mentioned there was a carriage, but he claimed he wasn't used to the jolting of carriage rides. After speaking, Mo Huai even blinked at me, as if asking for help. Before I could say anything, Jiang Yihui's face darkened. What's with the man's affectations? Get on the carriage now, or I'll have someone pull out your tongue if you're a step slower. I watched Mo Huai's pitiful figure board the carriage, lifting the curtain with teary eyes to gaze at me. Meanwhile, Jiang Yihui was full of tenderness, speaking softly. Princess, take good care of yourself. I crossed my arms and put on an indifferent expression. No need for you to say it. Jiang Yihui's knee injury hadn't fully healed yet, and he still walked with a slight limp. I hadn't taken a close look at the injuries on his face, so I didn't know if they had healed or not. To my surprise, I felt a twinge of guilt directed at Jiang Yihui. Xiaoyi, go ask Imperial Physician Shu if he has any scar-removing ointment. Xiaoyi nodded. Yes, also, have some hidden guards keep an eye on Mo Huai. Report his every move to me. I've always been suspicious by nature. Since childhood, I was often framed by others, and with my father's protection, I made countless enemies in the imperial harem. After moving outside the palace, I gradually let down my guard towards those around me. My father the emperor also told me that originally, imperial consorts were not allowed to participate in court affairs, but Jiang Yihui is a man of talent, and as my consort, he was exceptionally permitted to enter the court. I truly didn't expect that my second sister, Princess Honghui, would actually send me an invitation. It was a banquet invitation for her birthday celebration, inviting me to gather at the Golden House outside the palace. I heard the Golden House was an expensively built floral pavilion, elegantly decorated for noble gatherings and entertainment. Since I entered the palace, I've attended several of her birthday banquets. Mainly because the emperor invited me. Her taking the initiative to show such attentiveness was truly bizarre. Xiao Yi, did the second princess and other princesses bring their families? I've made some inquiries, and it seems all the other princesses have brought their most favored male companions or lovers. Xiao Yi pressed her lips together, looking utterly troubled, except for the second princess who brought her second consort. None of the other official consorts are present at the banquet. My heart began to pound with unease. Something about this didn't feel right, so I had Xiao Yi prepare brush and ink, and I finished writing the letter. The second son-in-law has now been given an official position, rumored to be a birthday gift Honghui begged from the emperor. It's said to be a 4th-rank military commander position. with authority to deploy 1,000 soldiers. I rubbed the edges of the letter before finally standing up and retrieving the silver whistle I kept in the cabinet. Xiaoyi gasped in surprise. "Your Highness, what are you doing? Wait for Jiang Yihui to finish court and have him go to the Golden House. If he insists on refusing, give him this letter." I handed the letter to Xiaoyi, then boarded the carriage with the silver whistle in hand. Upon arrival, I stepped out of the carriage and frowned at the sight of the Golden House built on Taiping Lake, with several boats drifting nearby. The Golden House stood on Taiping Lake, accessible only by a wooden suspension bridge that swayed perilously with every step, as if it might collapse at any moment. I took a step onto the bridge, and it immediately began to sway. I pressed my lips together, gathered my courage, and kept moving forward. Unexpectedly, the bridge shook even more violently. After much effort, I finally reached the Golden Chamber, where a faint woody fragrance greeted me. It was something I had never smelled before. Why did Fifth Sister come so late? I turned towards the voice and saw Honghui standing beside me, her face full of smiles. A chill ran through me as I resisted inwardly. "I've kept Second Sister waiting." Before she could respond, I took out the gift. "This is a luminous pearl I prepared for Second Sister. Please accept it with a smile. You must punish yourself with 3 cups, little sister. I'm not much of a drinker. Please forgive me, Second Sister." Something felt off to me. Following Honghui, I kept surveying the layout of our surroundings. Why isn't Fifth Sister's consort here? A forced smile spread across my face. The consort is occupied with important matters and will come later. So it seems, the fifth consort is indeed different from before, as father's favorite now. It's only natural he's busy, all thanks to Fifth Sister's influence, isn't it? Her sarcastic tone, laced with insinuations, clearly implied that Jiang Yihui owed his current status to me. My gaze swept the room until I spotted the second consort. With a faint smile, I countered, "How I envy Second Sister. Though her consort also holds office, she enjoys his company daily. While I remain all alone, I heard the gnashing of her teeth, but it brought me no satisfaction." Turning my head, I saw she had already snuffed out the incense, covering her nose and mouth with a handkerchief as she did so. I knew there was something fishy going on. During the banquet, many men dressed in revealing attire danced in the center of the hall, their gauzy skirts fluttering, both bewitching and seductive. Vulgar. Utterly vulgar. I looked beyond the pavilion. The drawbridge had already been raised, yet Jiang Yihui was nowhere to be seen. The unease in my heart swelled gradually in my chest. Perhaps it's better that he didn't come. When the song ended, the second son-in-law gave a toast, and everyone raised their glasses in celebration. I secretly poured out my wine. As I looked up, everyone was collapsing one after another, and I followed suit. Soon, the sound of many men's footsteps could be heard. All the male favorites had withdrawn. The next moment brought Honghui's astonished voice. "Did you let my other sisters smell the incense too?" The second prince consort's voice was clear and cold. "The incense and wine used today won't have any sedative effect. That was just my lie to the princess. Didn't we agree initially that only Fifth Sister's life would be taken? What do you mean by this?" He descended from the high seat, his footsteps making soft sounds. "Every princess in the capital is utterly ruthless, living in debauchery, selling official positions, and notorious. You are all Rakshasas straight from hell. If I don't act today, someone else surely will." He brushed past me, and all I heard was Honghui tumbling down from the hall in a stagger. "You wretch, I treated you so well, made you my consort, and gave you power and status. How dare you collude with other consorts and male favorites to betray me? Precisely because this power and status were given by you, princess, that I've endured scorn and humiliation. Honghui, I too wanted to be a proper husband to you, but what about you? Keeping male favorites, making us learn male virtues and etiquette, singing shameful, lascivious songs. We are men of honor, not playthings for you princesses." I was utterly shocked. My second sister actually played such wild games in private. I quietly raised my eyes to see the second prince consort standing with his back to me, hands clasped behind him, as he pinched Honghui's chin with one hand and smeared a layer of powder onto her lips. My second sister collapsed to the ground, barely clinging to life, and gasped, "You wretch, what have you done to me?" "Just some ordinary medicine. Honghui, enjoy yourself to the fullest." He let out a cold laugh, flicked his sleeve, and strode out. I clenched the silver whistle tightly, waiting until the sound of footsteps faded before rising to check the situation outside the window. The second princess's consort had already departed by boat at this moment. Fireworks erupted everywhere outside as 3,000 bright lanterns ascended simultaneously into the sky, a magnificent and dazzling spectacle. I assessed the situation, silently counting the arrows that pierced through the Kongming lanterns, sending flaming projectiles shooting toward the golden chamber. A sense of dread washed over me. Without hesitation, I blew the silver whistle. Though the flames outside hadn't yet breached the walls, I could already feel their scorching heat behind me. Hung Hui's mad laughter rang out. I turned to see her holding a candlestick, dripping oil onto the curtains. When had she gotten hold of that? Cold incense in golden beast, red waves of quilt tossed aside. Rising lazily to comb my hair, she recited poetry while continuing her destructive work. Moving methodically to another section of the room, my dressing mirror gathers dust. The sun climbs the curtain hook, dreading the sorrow of parting. So many things, wishing to speak yet holding back. Hong Hui, I rushed to her side, grabbed her wrist, and blew out the red candle in her hand. Who is Hong Hui? I'm Anshin, Lin Nani's Anshin. Her hair bun seemed already torn loose by her own hands. Her lips curled in a smile that bordered on madness. Anshin was her courtesy name. At her birth, her father the emperor had said he wished her a life of peace, flourishing like thriving plants. She often boasted about how much the emperor doted on her because of this. And Lin Nani was her deceased first love, the great general of Shangjing. When he died in battle, I even saw her wearing white flowers in the palace, burning paper money for Lin Nani. As the fire grew stronger, I had no time for anything else, focusing only on putting it out. My hidden guards had already rowed the boat over, but the orange-red flames encircled us completely, and the fire was not to be underestimated. I managed to rescue all the other princesses onto the boat. But I inhaled several mouthfuls of smoke and was too exhausted to move. Fifth princess, the fire is growing stronger. If we don't leave now, the boat will be consumed by the flames, and we'll be in grave danger. I glanced at the people on the boat and counted. One was still missing. It's Hong Hui. Without a moment's hesitation, I turned and rushed into the sea of flames. Hong Hui. The wooden beam from the roof crashed down in an instant, scattering sparks that quickly ignited into a raging fire. I leaped over the burning beam and rushed into the sea of flames, calling out to her. When I saw her collapsed beside the fire, I ran over quickly, and I exerted all my strength, but couldn't move her. The surrounding temperature rose, and I couldn't bear the heat either, collapsing alongside her. I don't know how many days I was unconscious, but when I woke up, I couldn't open my eyes. There was a bitter taste of medicine between my lips and teeth, and the sensation of soft lips. A cool sensation spread across my forehead as someone gently lifted my arm, carefully wiping my hand with a tender touch. After finishing one hand, they lifted the other to wipe it clean as well. The princess's high fever has subsided considerably. Xiao Yi, go summon the imperial physician to examine her highness. Yes, royal consort. I forced myself to pry my eyelids open, and the first thing I saw was Jiang Yihuai sitting on the edge of the bed. My limbs felt weak. My mouth parched as if I hadn't had a drop of water for 3 days and nights. I couldn't even utter a single word. Chu Yin, you're awake. Jiang Yihuai grabbed my hand excitedly, his fingers icy cold yet oddly soothing. With great effort, I shook him off. Don't touch me, hypocrite. Is there any discomfort in your body? The divorce paper has been given to you. You can leave now. Stop pretending and lingering here. I had long heard that the imperial consorts and male favorites were in cahoots, but I thought a few men couldn't possibly stir up much trouble. What's more, Jiang Yihuai's way of doing things was completely different from theirs. If they were to gang up on him, how could this blockhead Jiang possibly be their match? Knowing full well he might be walking into a trap, he carefully inquired about who would attend the birthday banquet and wrote that letter of divorce, all to leave himself a way out. If he comes, and is later framed, I can still protect him for a while. That would further prove his willing to share both joy and hardship with me, and I'd forgive him for hiding his participation in the palace exams from me. If he doesn't come, with the divorce letter in hand and his silver tongue, even if he's framed without my protection, He'll surely come out unscathed. If I'm lucky enough to return alive, I'll know clearly that I mean nothing to him, only fame and fortune matter to him. This letter of divorce will be just what he wants. From now on, whether he lives or dies is none of my concern, but right now, I can't get over the fact that he didn't come looking for me that day. Why didn't he come to save me? I turned my back, tears welling up in my eyes until my vision blurred, my heart aching unbearably. I tore up the divorce letter. How could I bear to part with my little princess? He sat on the edge of the bed, leaning down to look at me, crying. I pulled the blanket over my head, feeling nothing but shame. Did I bite you too hard just now? He didn't tug at my blanket, asking me with utmost gentleness. Did I upset you? He embraced me. That day, I should have hurried back from court to find you. It's a pity I was a little late to leave you. Before I could finish speaking, Xiaoyi returned, and I heard the physician's footsteps. Jiang Yihui stood up, and the weight on me vanished. The physician took my pulse, prescribed another calming remedy, and then departed. Once again, only Jiang Yihui and I remained in the room. When did you come looking for me? I sat up from the bed and asked him. I almost became a widower. He cupped my face, his cool fingertips brushing against my cheek. Did you save me? Naturally. The flames were fierce that day. You collapsed beside the second princess, tongues of fire encircling you both. The sight chilled me to the bone. I still couldn't believe it. But seeing his distressed expression, I found myself convinced. Why did you suddenly run back to save them? His words came with labored breaths, his tone carrying what sounded like reproach. This sentence is not meant to blame you. I only wish for the little princess to remain safe forever, and not to put herself in danger. His gaze burned with intensity as he cupped my face, as if holding a long-lost treasure he had finally recovered. I said, because I want her to be safe. In the days that followed, I could no longer find Mo Huai's trace. Xiaoyi confessed that he had secretly communicated with the second prince consort to report my whereabouts, and has already been sent to the Dali temple for punishment. If he hadn't exposed the second prince consort, this blame would likely have been pinned on Jiang Yihui. The second prince consort has already been executed, but Honghui has gone mad. All the imperial physicians in the palace are at a loss, and the emperor has posted royal notices everywhere seeking doctors to cure her illness. One after another, charlatans entered the palace, only to be thrown into the dungeon by my father. Thus, her madness remained incurable. All the male consorts of the princesses in every palace were dismissed. Because of this, I became the object of admiration among the princesses. One after another, they came to flatter me. Lately, I've been dreaming frequently of my childhood days as a beggar, scavenging for food with stray dogs, living in abandoned temples. In the bitter cold of winter, I could only curl up in straw bedding, yet I did encounter one kind soul. When I was 6 years old during winter, with goosefeather snowflakes drifting through the streets, I sat begging by the roadside, right before my eyes. A pickpocket stole a young nobleman's purse. I didn't want to get involved at first, but seeing his distressed expression softened my heart. I chased after the thief with all my might, only to end up not catching him and twisting my ankle in the process. I can't recall the young master's exact appearance anymore, but I remember his ethereal demeanor and gentle speech, something unforgettable. He took me into a shoe shop and bought me a pair of cotton shoes on credit. Then he brought me to a clothing store and got me a cotton-padded jacket, also on credit. He even took me to a restaurant and treated me to a feast of delicious food on credit. He said, "The flower-shaped birthmark on your ankle is quite beautiful." He also said, "If you still have nowhere to go next winter, come to my residence and be my study companion. I'll give you the best food and the finest things." But in the winter when I was 7, the eunuchs recognized me because of the flower-shaped birthmark on my ankle. Finally, through the blood recognition ritual, I successfully entered the palace and became a princess. He was the only warmth in my cold and hungry childhood. This year's winter arrived unusually fast, and a thick layer of snow had already accumulated outside. The goosefeather snow continued to fall. At this time of year, I used to have Xiaoyi take me to the streets for a stroll, revisiting old haunts. The snow was falling heavily, and I didn't bother with an umbrella. The dilapidated temple had been torn down and replaced with a new one. The shoe shop had long since relocated, now it's a candy store, and even the clothing shop had turned into a pharmacy. Only the tavern remained the same as ever. But as seasons changed, the shop owner had been replaced, and so had the dishes. I stood outside for a long time, watching the dine-in customers come and go, lost in thought. Princess. Shall we return to the princess's residence to eat, or dine here? Let's eat here. I stepped into the shop. My usual seat was taken, so I had to settle for a private room. I ordered some dishes, and Xiaoyi served them to me. Halfway through the meal, the attendant who always followed Jiang Yihui found me. Princess. The consort is waiting to dine with you. I won't be returning for the meal, I'll dine here. But how shall I explain this to the imperial consort? I am the princess. The sovereign, he is merely the consort, a subject. Can't you distinguish between superior and inferior? Jiang Yihui is becoming increasingly insolent. I can tell them apart, I really can. After my attendant left, I lost all appetite to continue eating. Having Xiaoyi settle the bill, I went to pay respects at the Temple of Wealth. Perhaps it's because I was too poor in the past that I now crave more wealth. I remained kneeling in prayer until the sun dipped below the mountain peaks before Xiaoyi finally called me to rise. Returning to the princess's residence, I saw Jiang Yihui smiling warmly at me. For some reason, I felt a chill in my heart. Princess, shall we dine? This princess has already eaten. The consort may dine alone. I glanced at the maids around me, all with lowered brows, seemingly sharing my sense of an invisible oppressive atmosphere. Raising my eyes to meet his gloomy gaze, I noticed his irritation. The moment our eyes locked, his expression shifted again, as if he'd been wronged. I had no choice but to agree. Fine, let's dine together. A faint smile played at the corners of Jiang Yihui's lips, as if deliberately suppressing the joy in his heart. He ordered someone to heat the food and bring it to the room. The aroma of the food made me realize how hungry I was, and he served me dishes. Princess, why did you go to the tavern today? Did you have an appointment with someone? Jiang Yihui, are you controlling me? Your Highness only needs to answer me. Do you have an appointment with someone else? Are you that concerned? I chuckled, putting down my chopsticks and lifting his chin with my finger. What if this princess says yes? What will you do then? He stared at me, an unusual emotion flickering in his eyes. The next second, he suddenly stood up and leaned towards me. Then he broke his promise. Was the princess sad? Did you send someone to spy on me? Instead of answering my question, he continued. The princess even went to pray for him. Didn't she? Who is he? Jiang Yihui, you're getting bolder by the day. I slammed the table in anger, grabbing the rice bowl from it and hurling it at him. Know your place. My affairs are none of your concern. But his hand was quicker than mine, seizing my wrist and lifting it, restraining me. Chu Yin. I could overlook anything, but why did it have to be that tavern? His eyes were red at the corners, glistening with tears like a pool of water, droplets trembling on the brink of falling. His grip tightened, and I couldn't help but feel some pain. Jiang Yihui, do you like this princess? And what about the princess? Has she ever had true feelings for me? Or was I just a substitute for someone else? A substitute? I had never thought of it that way. Your appearances and figures are nothing alike. How could you be a stand-in? Jiang Yihui loosened his grip slightly, gave me a deep, inscrutable look, then turned and left. His choked sob seemed like a figment of my imagination. Jiang Yihui avoided me for 7 days before I learned the truth. He wasn't avoiding me at all. The emperor had dispatched him to Xiajiang to combat the plague. A mere scholar, he knew nothing of medicine. I've pleaded with His Majesty my father countless times to return to the capital, yet he refuses to see me. I've written him dozens of letters, and not a single one has been answered. The man is utterly heartless. The nights are so quiet, and without anyone to warm my bed, the cold becomes unbearable. I had someone light the floor heating. Princess, the clothes His Highness changed out of the other day were only collected today. Where should this servant put them? I lazily lifted my eyes to look at her. Just put them in His Highness's wardrobe. She acknowledged with a sound and awkwardly opened the wardrobe to place the clothes inside. Your Highness, there's also a sachet on the consort's garment. Where should this servant place it? The maid presented the dark purple sachet. I took it, examined it, and felt inside there was a key hidden within. I studied that key, remembering the box he kept hidden beneath our bed. It's truly improper to pry into others' privacy, but I'm the princess, and he's my consort, everything about him belongs to me, there's nothing improper about it. Without a moment's hesitation, I opened it. Inside was a notebook. I turned to a page and examined it carefully. It read, Sheng Kang Year 6, Summer Solstice. On my elder brother's death anniversary, Mother wailed day and night. Feeling powerless myself, I vowed to take up his mantle and make his aspirations my own. The 6th year of Sheng Kang reign, winter solstice. Amid swirling goosefeather snow, I lost my embroidered pouch on the capital's streets. Mother flew into rage, and I suffered corporal punishment under household discipline. The purse was later found, having been placed in the desk drawer all along. 2 days after the winter solstice, on a day of heavy goosefeather snow, my purse was stolen on the streets of Shangjing. Many stood by indifferently, but only a ragged child, barely 3 feet tall, stepped forward to help me. After expressing my gratitude, I made a promise with them. The child had a flower-shaped birthmark on the ankle, so beautiful that Mr. Jiang could never forget it. In the 7th year of Sheng Kang, on the winter solstice, heavy snow fell. No beggars were seen on the streets of Shangjing. The purse remained intact, but the child failed to appear as promised. 2 days of searching yielded no results. Today, in the outskirts of Shangjing, beneath a layer of snow, 2 small skeletons of children were unearthed. I spent a fortune to give you a proper burial. Only when I bring peace to this land someday will you truly rest in this place. In the autumn of the 8th year of Sheng Kang, our family business collapsed completely. Father worked odd jobs at a tavern, only to be falsely accused of theft by the owner. His father's legs were crippled by the shopkeeper. Fortunately, a nobleman's daughter bailed him out, solving the immediate crisis. The nobleman's daughter gave him 100 taels of silver but left no name. His parents returned home, and the family business gradually improved, secretly vowing that once he achieved scholarly honors, he would repay the official's daughter with 100 taels of silver. After finishing the translation of the notes, my emotions were complicated. Before marrying Jiang Yihuai, I had inquired about his family background, although he never lacked for food or clothing as a child. His family's business was struggling, and they often had to buy things on credit. His elder brother Jiang Gefei passed the imperial examination at the age of 10. Jiang Gefei aspired to achieve scholarly honors, to provide a better life for his parents, to strengthen the nation, and to ensure the people would not suffer displacement. However, a severe illness claimed his life in his prime. Jiang's mother wept daily, her grief over losing her son too profound to soothe. Jiang Yihuai resolved to strive with all his might, adopting his brother's ambitions as his own. 2 years later, the Jiang family came into unexpected wealth and decided to rebuild their fortunes. Their business flourished, and with the birth of another son, Jiang Iran, they gradually grew distant from Jiang Yihuai. At the age of 12, after passing the imperial examination and returning home, Jiang Yihuai witnessed the happy and harmonious scene of his parents and Jiang Iran. It was then he realized that what he sought was not fame or fortune, but something else entirely. He couldn't quite articulate what it was. Frequent visits to the temple to pray and light incense, always keeping company with Buddhist lamps, trying to fill the missing piece in his heart. The official's daughter mentioned in Jiang Yihuai's diary was me. Now I understand why he said, of all places, it had to be that tavern. Never did I imagine that my unintentional actions would make the Jiang family elders the wealthiest in the capital. Jiang Yihuai has been gone for 3 months, and I've been receiving his letters one after another, 1 letter per month. It's as if he's reporting his progress, with the same closing line every time. Little princess, don't miss me, summer is approaching. Yet this month's letter still hasn't arrived. For 7th sister's birthday, the emperor hosted an evening banquet, with many princesses attending alongside their consorts. During the banquet, 7th sister kept glancing in my direction. The wine made my head swim, and as she continued watching me, my temples throbbed. Farewell to the banquet. I asked Xiaoyi to wait a moment while I went alone to the imperial garden to sober up. I felt inexplicably hot and sensed something was wrong when someone embraced me from behind. I pushed them away immediately. Turning around, I saw it was Mo Huai. He tried to approach again, but I kept retreating until my back touched the cool surface of a rockery. Mo Huai, what are you doing here? I asked with a hint of chill in my voice. Fifth princess, I share some similarities with Jiang Yihuai. Why can't you show me some affection too? The liquor was exceptionally strong, and in my haze, Mo Huai's face began to resemble Jiang Yihuai's more and more. He pressed close to me, even wearing the exact same fragrance as Jiang Yihuai. I pushed him away again. Get lost. I reached for the silver whistle at my waist. Was the princess looking for this? He dangled the silver whistle in his hand, the corner of his lips faintly curling under the moonlight. Give it back to me. He actually stole my silver whistle when I wasn't paying attention. I took a step forward, trying to snatch the silver whistle back, but he retreated a step and threw the whistle into the nearby grass. He was only half a head taller than me. Yet in my dazed state, he seemed as towering as a mountain. The fire in my chest had shifted lower, and I realized with sudden clarity I'd been drugged with an aphrodisiac. The princess doesn't need this now. What the princess needs is me. He tried to steady me, but I pushed him away again. This princess wants nothing to do with you. I haven't even settled the score with you for betraying me. Though my limbs felt weak and powerless, I wasn't about to be led by the nose. I pulled the hairpin from my head and pointed its sharp end at him. I never intended to betray the princess. I had no other choice. No other choice, I scoffed coldly. That's right, if I hadn't done it, the second princess would have threatened my family's lives. Aren't you afraid I might kill you? The princess wouldn't. The fifth consort said the fifth princess is different from the others. In that instant, my emotions rippled like disturbed water. He was right. I am different because I'm crueler, more vicious. With that, I drew a blade across my own arm, letting the blood seep through. The pain in my arm grew heavier, clearing my mind and lessening the physical cravings. Mo Huai seemed frightened, his face drained of color. After hearing my words, he took half a step back. Get out. Don't you dare say you saw me today, otherwise, you'll have to choose between your life and your family's. But Mo Huai didn't leave. I pretended to lunge at him with the needle, yet he didn't dodge. Beneath the moonlight, his white robes were stained crimson with blood, thick streams of it gushing out. I frowned, convinced he must be out of his mind. If I can't handle him, can't I at least avoid him? With the drug's effects surging through me, I shoved him aside and bolted toward Xianhu Lake, diving into the water without a second thought. I can swim, but my limbs feel weak and powerless. My body keeps sinking. Suddenly, Jiang Yihuai's words flashed through my mind. Little princess, as long as you live a healthy and peaceful life, nothing else matters. I can't die yet. Jiang Yihuai hasn't come back. I tried every possible way to swim ashore. Then I heard footsteps, and from afar came Seventh Sister's voice. Where is he? This can't be. I raised my head above the water. Glanced around. Father Emperor and Seventh Sister were both there, followed by a dense crowd of people. This scene was comparable to a wife calling in reinforcements to beat up the mistress, or like catching someone in the act of adultery. I always wondered how Mo Huai managed to get out of prison. He's here. I struggled to climb out of the water, startling everyone present. Chu Yin, what are you doing here? I just wanted to take a walk to clear my mind. But I was ambushed by assassins and got injured. Fortunately, Mo Huai saved me. He told me to hide underwater to avoid pursuit. As soon as I finished speaking, Seventh Sister jumped out to refute me. Father, Fifth Imperial Sister is lying. Mo Huai didn't dare to breathe loudly. Everyone could see the wounds on his body at a glance. The wind blew, making the chill on my body even more intense, and I couldn't help but shiver. Does Seventh Sister mean to say that by indulging with male favorites here, I've violated the rules set by our father? Seventh Sister and Honghui are biological sisters, both born to Consort Hui. Consort Hui was demoted to commoner status for killing my mother, and Seventh Sister was given to Consort Yu to raise from birth. Honghui had always treated Seventh Sister well. Perhaps it was precisely this relationship that made her harbor resentment toward me, yet she truly knew how to conceal it, revealing only the faintest trace of hatred after all these years. She wasn't good with words, nor did she know how to vie for favor. Her temperament was exactly like Consort Yu's. The Emperor roared in fury. The seventh princess falsely accused the fifth princess of defying palace rules. 10 strikes with the board. Confined to quarters for half a month. In the end, the Emperor ordered the imperial clan court to thoroughly investigate the matter. I was escorted back to my palace chambers by Xiao Yi, and a royal physician was summoned to examine me. I instructed Xiao Yi to send someone to find my silver whistle. After the wound was treated and bandaged, I crawled into bed and fell asleep. In my drowsy state, I sensed someone sitting by my bedside, their scent strikingly similar to Jiang Yihuai's. But how could Jiang Yihuai possibly be here? I woke up groggily, only to see Mo Huai staring at me with tearful eyes. The princess isn't dead yet. Save your tears for the funeral. I tried to shoo him away, but he wouldn't listen. His stubbornness was growing more and more like Jiang Yihuai's. So I scolded him, "Stop using the same incense as the consort. It makes me sick." "Thank you, princess, for rescuing this humble servant." I gave him a cool glance. "Since you overheard, you should leave now. The farther, the better." "Doesn't the princess wish to know why I was in the imperial garden today? Was it seventh sister's doing?" Seeing his silence, I knew my guess was right. "You came from the same household as the second consort. Naturally, you're aware of the trap he set. You followed me for several days, and I never mistreated you. Under the consort's influence, you also know my character, yet you never defended me, letting seventh sister believe I was the one who drove Princess Honghui to madness. Do you still think you have any reason to stay here? I only regret not driving the hairpin deeper into your chest just now, to kill you on the spot." I curled my lips slightly, recalling a ridiculous thing Mo Huai once said. "Didn't you ask me why I wouldn't choose you, even though you share some similarities with the consort? Now I'll tell you, you're different from Jiang Yihuai. He would never put me in danger." After speaking, I didn't wait to see his reaction, but simply turned my body away. His gentle voice came from behind, speaking to me softly and at length. "Before the seventh princess rescued me from the imperial clan court, she asked this servant whether I wanted to become the fifth princess's consort. This servant did want to, because the fifth princess treated me extremely well, never lacking me food or clothing, nor forcing me to learn those vulgar songs. But the princess already had a consort, so I hesitated. Because her consort loved her dearly, he secretly painted miniature portraits of her and remembered all her dietary preferences. This servant had never seen a consort who loved his princess so deeply, nor had I ever encountered a princess in the capital as wonderful as her." He paused. "This servant isn't foolish. I know my own weight in your highness's heart. Moreover, the imperial consort is still alive. I dare not entertain such thoughts." But the seventh princess said the imperial consort contracted plague while combating the epidemic at Xiajiang. Even if he survives to return to the capital, his life hangs by a thread, and so, this servant's resolve wavered. At this moment, I clenched my fists in agitation, threw off the quilt, and hurled a soft pillow at him. "Mo Huai, you deserve death." My barely healed wound split open violently, oozing sticky blood that soaked through my clothes. I pressed my hand against the throbbing spot, supporting myself with one arm as I tried to adjust my position to lie down. He didn't dodge but instead moved to steady me. "Princess." I grabbed his collar with my other hand, noticing the dried bloodstains on his clothes. My grip tightened, veins bulging on the back of my trembling hand. "The consort is not someone you can casually discuss. How dare you gossip behind my back? If you wish to die, I'll grant your wish right now." I released my grip on his collar and grabbed him by the throat. Just as I was about to tighten my hold, I heard faint footsteps at the door and stopped. "You got lucky this time. Don't linger here, I find it disgusting." Mo Huai ran behind the curtain. The emperor walked in and, seeing my frail condition, bestowed upon me some nourishing medicine. With earnest words, he instructed me on how to take the medicine and assigned more attendants for my use. Today's report from the front lines says that Minister Jiang has contracted the plague, and it's feared. Does your majesty mean for me to choose another consort? The emperor father let out a long sigh, his expression grave. The room fell into silence as I replied, "Your son understands." After father left, I gazed at the windowsill for a long time. The moon hid behind clouds, its light diffused through the layers, becoming a hazy blur. I rose from my bed. Not knowing when the silver whistle had appeared on the desk, I glanced at the curtain. Mo Huai was no longer there. Xiao Yi came running back. "Reporting to your highness, this servant couldn't find it. No need to search anymore. Someone has delivered it. Prepare a fast horse and provisions for me these next few days. I'm going to Xiajiang." Xiaoyi said worriedly. But Your Highness, I gave her a look, and she fell silent. During my injury, the imperial physicians neglected me. Someone must have given them orders. The wound has nearly healed now, so I took Xiaoyi to Seventh Sister's chambers. I had Xiaoyi hold the sandalwood tray while I pulled a packet of brown powder from my sleeve and poured it into the teapot right before her eyes, stirring the tea with a wooden spoon. I then covered the pot. Xiaoyi, take this to the seventh princess, fifth sister. What are you doing? She retreated half a step, her eyes flustered. Xiaoyi, having been by my side for a long time, has also learned to remain calm in the face of change. She placed the wooden tray on the table and poured the medicinal liquid from the pot into a teacup. I spoke up at that moment. Unlike someone, I don't like to scheme behind people's backs. Seventh sister panicked instantly, knocking over the teacup Xiaoyi had brought, spilling it on the floor, like a madwoman. She shrieked, I won't drink it, you've poisoned it, I won't drink it. I had no choice but to pour her another cup myself, gripping her chin and forcing the drink down her throat. She struggled to push me away, but it was already too late. Coughing violently, her collar stained with medicine, my eyes flashed with ruthless determination as I mercilessly slammed the cup onto the ground. Today, we settle the score for you drugging my wine. Her voice turned hoarse. Aren't you afraid of Father Emperor finding out, fifth sister? And what about you? Are you afraid of Father Emperor knowing? He's no fool. By making such a grand spectacle of summoning everyone to the Imperial Gardens, aren't you openly declaring your intent to harm me? I grabbed her collar in one swift motion, staring straight into her eyes as my tone grew increasingly severe. Seventh sister, not everyone is someone you can afford to provoke. She met my gaze with a timid expression, her body trembling slightly, hesitating as if wanting to refute me. As I turned to leave, she rushed toward me, grabbing my wrist forcefully. Blocking my path. What exactly do you want? How long do you intend to torment us? The entire palace knows of your hostility toward my elder sister. It was because of your collusion with the second consort that my sister was driven to madness. She came at me like a rabid dog, her hair disheveled and the hairpin on her head askew, her hands shoved against my body as she spewed her righteous words. Xiaoyi stepped between us to separate me from her. I wasn't much better off either. Not only were my sleeves completely torn, but even the corners of my undergarments had been shredded by her sharp nails. You poisoned me today. I'm going straight to Father Emperor to expose your wicked deeds. She shoved Xiaoyi aside and bolted for the door. Little did she know, Father Emperor had been waiting at the entrance for quite some time. First shocked, she then proceeded to recite every false accusation against me to Father Emperor one by one. Father merely watched her with cold eyes. I knew Father's mind was as clear as a mirror. He was aware of everything that happened in the palace. Most of the time, he simply observed from the sidelines, refusing to become someone else's blade. Father looked at me with disbelief, his lower lip trembling slightly. Chu Yin, did you really drug your seventh sister? With both witnesses and material evidence present, Father Emperor, your son has nothing more to say. Things unfolded exactly as I had anticipated. I was placed under house arrest for 3 months, with no visitors permitted. According to Xiaoyi, seventh sister summoned 15 imperial physicians in succession, exhausting every possible method to purge what she believed was poison from her system. In truth, I hadn't poisoned her at all. I merely wanted to use these 3 months of confinement as an opportunity to meet him in Xiajiang. I rode at full speed to Xiajiang, where the epidemic was now well under control. The people wore veils as they moved through the quiet streets, and so did I. After asking around, I learned that Jiang Yihuai was isolating alone at Luken Temple, and that he was seriously ill. I changed my attire, disguising myself as a man. Following the temple attendant's instructions, I was only allowed to stand outside the courtyard gate to see him, not to enter. Hearing the sound of coughing from the courtyard, I pushed the door open anxiously. I saw him sitting alone at the stone table, draped in a sapphire blue coat, his figure gaunt, his face was as pale as paper, staring at me in slight surprise, a letter still clutched in his hand. He quickly turned his back to me. Young master, I presume you've been sent by the prefect. Inform the magistrate on my behalf that I am doing well. Before the words had fully left his mouth, he was overcome by a fit of coughing. I hurried forward, but he waved me away. struggling to suppress his persistent cough. Ahem, I've contracted the plague. Stay back, I don't want to pass the sickness to you. The letter in his hand slipped and fell to the ground. I stepped forward, quicker than him, picked it up, and gave the contents a quick glance. It was sent to him by someone from the palace. My gaze locked onto the 6 large characters. The princess is not in the residence. Is he spying on me? You, Jiang Yihui grabbed my wrist, snatched the letter from my hand, and then released his grip. I only meant to help Lord Jiang pick up the paper, nothing more. I deliberately lowered my head, my voice unconsciously deepening. No matter. Jiang Yihui folded the paper in half and tucked it inside his inner garment. His gaze shifted from icy cold to gentle in an instant. Inform the prefect that if a woman comes looking for me these days, he must not reveal my whereabouts or any truth about me. It would be best if the prefect could persuade her to leave. Why? There is no why. He pulled out a thick stack of silver notes from his sleeve and handed them to me. If persuasion fails, take this money, buy a courtyard for me at the foot of Luken Temple. She is delicate, hire some servants and maids to attend to her. I tore off my veil, months apart. And the consort has learned to drive people away. Take your money back. This princess can endure hardship. I walked to his side, standing shoulder to shoulder with him, and raised my eyes to meet his gaze. He turned his face away again, covering his mouth and nose. His voice was cold and hard as he took half a step back. Chu Yin, be good and go back. I grabbed his collar and pulled him toward me. I mean what I say, don't even think about sending me away. Pushing his hand aside, I bit his lip. The metallic taste of blood mingled with our saliva before I finally released him. It's only a matter of time before I catch the plague now. I released him and walked straight into the inner room. After 7 days of tending to Jiang Yihui without even changing my clothes, I was the one who fell ill instead. The illness struck fiercely, my head felt cold, yet my body was burning hot. And I didn't feel the chill at all. Jiang Yihui's condition had improved considerably, though he still coughed lightly, which he said was a lingering after-effect. Every night, he would fetch a basin of hot water to wipe me down, then hurry to the backyard to brew medicine for me to drink. My entire body ached so much I lacked even the strength to speak. He would only hold my hand, murmuring reproachfully, "So reckless, you never think of yourself, daring to come here like this." I pulled my hand back. What I do is no one else's business to question. He held my hand and asked, "May I offer my opinion, little princess?" Barely tolerable. A tingling yet icy sensation traveled through my fingertips. Jiang Yihui's eyes rippled with emotion, like a stone dropped into still waters, sending out gentle waves. "Jiang Yihui," I called out to him, "why do you pursue scholarly honors when your ambitions lie elsewhere? Then why does the princess wish to make me her consort? I asked you first. Well, I simply wish to be worthy of you, my little princess. You are of noble birth, how could I, a mere scholar or some official's backyard retained guest, ever match you with such an awkward status?" So that's what he was thinking. I had misunderstood him before. "Then do you know that we share a childhood connection? On our wedding night, when I saw the floral birthmark on your ankle, I knew it was you. Why didn't you tell me?" "There's nothing more to say. If you love me because of past favors and old kindness, then it's not love, it's repayment." The calluses on his fingers had softened with new flesh, no longer as rough as before. "Besides, you've already repaid that debt long ago, so there's truly nothing left to discuss. Neither of us should be bound by the past." Yet to me, he seemed the one still shackled by those very memories. I asked, "Why did you call yourself a substitute that day?" "Because you let me become the consort without knowing it was me, so I resent being someone else's substitute." "Then why didn't you run away if you resent it? Why stay so close to me?" Knowing I couldn't escape, I stopped wanting to. He raised his eyes to look at me, and a languid tenderness slowly washed over me. These words eroded my heart like a hidden poison. "I don't want to run away anymore, not just at this moment." "Jiang Yihui, do you have informants in the palace? Don't you?" He didn't deny it. "Then you also knew that my father intends to choose another consort for me." "I know." Jiang Yihui's tone was indifferent. "I've long known I was just a passing fancy of yours. Coming to Xiajiang to fight the epidemic wasn't to avoid you, it was with a resolve to die. But I also wanted to know how you were doing. When I heard His Majesty was seeking another consort for you, I actually felt relieved. I withdrew my warm hand and stroked his cheek, pouting. "You're not allowed to feel relieved." He merely smiled in response. Jiang Yihui and the physicians of Xiajiang developed their own medicinal plaster to treat the plague. After forcing me to drink a bowl of it, I soon regained my former vitality. After my recovery, the people of Xiajiang gradually overcame the plague. The death toll wasn't particularly high, yet whenever I walked down the streets, I saw paper money scattered everywhere along the roads. I couldn't help but feel sorrow. The prefect assigned us a small courtyard. I spent a period living as common folk with Jiang Yihui by the Xia River. He would go to the market to buy groceries, then come home and cook for me. He would roll up his trousers and sleeves by the riverside to catch fish, which he'd then grill for me to eat. Occasionally, we'd gather some cow whip grass to weave into shapes of small animals, which we'd sell at the market. They'd be snatched up in no time. Many people rushed to follow suit, but unfortunately, the switchgrass on the back mountain had already been harvested by us. After making money, Jiang Yihui first bought me a gold locket, symbolizing peace and smooth sailing. At sunrise, we watched the morning sun rise together, the sea of clouds churning. At night, we would sit together under the eaves, gazing at the stars and the moon. Before bed, Jiang Yihui would softly read storybooks to lull me to sleep. When sleep eluded us, we would revel through the night. After living such days for so long, I began to think that not being a princess wasn't so bad after all. Only later did I realize that life would be good only when spent with Jiang Yihui. When the secret guards came to Xiajiang to fetch me, I understood it was likely my father emperor's will. On the eve of parting, I wept for a long time in Jiang Yihui's embrace. He ruffled my hair and wiped away my tears with his knuckles, saying, "Don't cry, little princess, I'll return in a few days." I returned to the palace ahead of Jiang Yihui. Father didn't punish me either, only he noticed that I had sneaked out of the palace while under house arrest. No one else in the palace was aware. The case at the imperial clan court has been resolved. The water I gave seventh sister was harmless. She had framed me. Now, she's been fined 3 months' allowance and placed under house arrest for a month. Father told me not to blame seventh sister. He doesn't want to see us siblings turn against each other. His Majesty also inquired about Jiang Yihui's situation in Xiajiang. Only upon learning that he had the epidemic under control did the gloom lift from his face. He also instructed me to spend more time with seventh sister recently, as in 7 days she would be sent far away to marry into the Qingming kingdom. The capital had never before sent a princess to marry into a foreign land for alliance. But to secure the border, His Majesty had no choice but to resort to this last measure. Chu Yin, originally I wanted to send you. You're more intelligent and decisive than Xiao Qi. But I lowered my eyelids, lost in thought. From what I knew, the ruler of Qingming Kingdom was 56 years old, just 4 years younger than Father Emperor. When the Qingming ruler died, all childless concubines would have to be buried with him. Now that seventh sister's house arrest had ended, I went to Consort Yu's Chungning Palace and sent Xiao Yi back to my quarters to fetch something. Standing outside the hall, I saw seventh sister's desolate figure. After 3 months apart, she had noticeably grown thinner. I walked in, and she turned her head toward me at the sound of my footsteps. "I'm to be married off to the Qingming Kingdom. Are you happy now?" "I don't find it the least bit happy," I said softly, lowering my gaze to meet hers. "If you don't want to marry, just have father choose a noblewoman from the imperial clan, bestow her the title of princess, and let her take your place. You make it sound so simple." While you were under house arrest, father hosted a banquet for the envoys from Qingming and invited all the unmarried princesses. The envoys picked me, fair and square. I see. I plucked a grape from the fruit bowl on her table and popped it into my mouth. Seventh sister snatched the fruit bowl away. "Haven't you laughed at me enough? Now you're eating my palace fruits too." I clapped my hands and offered her a solution. "If you don't want to marry, why not just go die?" Furious beyond measure, seventh sister began hurling fruits from the bowl at me one by one. "Now you finally show your true colors. You want me dead. If we're talking about dying, then let's die together." She smashed the fruits, then grabbed my neck. Her grip wasn't strong, but I still struggled to speak. "Let go." "I won't. You want me dead. I'll make sure you die too." Xiaoyi arrived just in time and pulled us apart. Only then could I catch my breath, coughing weakly. "Seventh princess, The fifth princess didn't mean it that way. Xiao Yi took out a small box from her hand, inside which lay a single pill. She instructed, after arriving in Qingming Kingdom, the seventh princess should take this. I swallowed hard. I never intended to turn against my own sister. I will save you. The seventh princess stared blankly at the pill in her hand. Why would you save me? Didn't you hate my sister to death? Because you are also my sister. I looked at her. Although Consort Hui killed my mother during her difficult childbirth and had me sent out of the palace, reducing me to a beggar, I never directed my hatred toward you. I only resent her. 7 days later, the seventh princess was granted the title Princess Changhe and embarked on her journey for a political marriage. Disguised as a palace maid accompanying the bride, I slipped into the procession. The road ahead was long, and I could only lament not knowing when I might see Jiang Yihuai again. We arrived at a post station where the marriage procession stopped to rest. I asked the inn attendant to bring me writing brushes, ink, paper, and inkstone, then wrote a letter home and found someone to deliver it to Xiajiang. After finishing these tasks, I told seventh sister to rest in the room while I wandered outside alone. Given the dangers of this journey, I sent someone to gather information about the situation in the Qingming Kingdom. The court of Qingming Kingdom is divided into two factions. One consists of the partisans of Crown Prince Xiao Chengjing, and the other of the fourth Prince Xiao Chuan. Xiao Chengjing's mother was the white moonlight of the Qingming Kingdom's ruler. After her death, the 5-year-old Xiao Chengjing was named Crown Prince, raised by the ruler's side and showered with boundless favor. Taking advantage of the ruler's indulgence, he oppressed the common people and seized virtuous women to add to his harem, yet the ruler turned a blind eye to it all. Xiao Chengchuan was an upright man who had achieved great merits, and many court officials regarded him as a candidate for a wise ruler. If I could get close to him, help him become the ruler of the Qingming Kingdom, and in exchange, secure peace between our two nations, that would be ideal. Within 2 days, the marriage procession entered the territory of the Qingming Kingdom. They settled in the royal residence prepared for their stay. Seventh sister was plagued by anxiety every day, constantly fearing she wouldn't measure up. I reassured her to set her mind at ease, deliberately leaving Xiao Yi at her disposal, while I journeyed alone to the capital of the Qingming Kingdom, Dijing. Lost for a moment in a bamboo grove, a dark arrow whizzed straight past my face. Someone yanked me aside, and I shut my eyes tight. No pain. A muffled groan came from beneath me. Only then did I realize I was lying atop a handsome young man dressed in blue robes. A dark figure darted from the bamboo grove. Attempting to strike at him again, I blew my silver whistle, and numerous hidden guards converged from all directions to surround the shadowy figure. He pressed it directly before me and the young master. Who would have thought the black-clad man would bite into the poison hidden between his teeth and perish instantly? The young master in blue robes showed no expression as he felt around the black-clad man's chest. Then he retrieved a token and placed it into his own pouch. "Miss, you saved my life today. How may I repay you?" "No need for repayment. You saved my life too, a life for a life." I tucked away the silver whistle as the hidden guards dispersed. "Who are they?" "They are household slaves trained by my father to protect me." His eyes darkened slightly as he nodded again. "What is your name?" "My name is Chu Yin," I said, looking at him. "And you, what's your name?" "Xiao Chengchuan." It was him. The fourth prince of Qingming Kingdom. I immediately changed my expression. "Then you'd better repay me." His eyes curved into a smile as he grinned at me. "I saved you too. So how are you going to repay me?" "I will help you ascend to the throne." Xiao Chengchuan suddenly leaned in close, his gaze ambiguous as he looked at me. "Do you want the position of queen?" In a panic, I stepped back to put some distance between us, waving my hands hurriedly. "I have a family." I never agreed to that. Dazed for a moment, by the time I came to my senses, all I saw was his retreating figure. I hurried to catch up. Upon reaching the imperial capital, Xiao Chengchuan found me an inn to stay at. Xiao Chengchuan wasn't in a rush to leave. He asked me a few things before departing. I thought I had left no flaws, yet never expected him to expose my identity the very next day. At this moment, the marriage procession entered the imperial capital. Hidden among the crowd, I searched for a certain figure. Xiao Chengchuan's voice, mingling with the clamor of the crowd, reached my ears. "Princess Xiaohua." I sharply turned my head to meet his inscrutable phoenix eyes. So it really is you. I haven't earned his trust yet, mustn't act recklessly. What Princess Xiaohua? Never heard of her. He restrained me, dragging me into a deserted alley, then pressed a small knife against my chin. Keep pretending. And your life won't be worth keeping. I'm not pretending. I really don't know any Princess Xiaohua. He sheathed his knife, lifted my chin, and made as if to kiss me. I covered my mouth with my hand. In an instant, a blinding flash of steel, the dagger pressed against Xiao Chengquan's chin, pointing straight toward me. Then a familiar voice rang out, "Let her go." At this moment, Jiang Yihuai stood right behind Xiao Chengquan. Assassinating a prince is a grave crime. I broke free from Xiao Chengquan's grip and stepped forward to intervene. "Jiang Yihuai, stop." Jiang Yihuai obediently sheathed his dagger and shielded me. I never knew the prince of Qingming Kingdom could be so dissolute as to abduct a common woman in broad daylight. You Beijing folks aren't much better yourselves, going around slandering people with exaggerations. Both of them were masters of sharp tongues. They started bickering, trading barb for barb. Enough, I cut in, and the two fell silent in perfect unison. "Xiao Chengquan, are you sure you don't need my help?" Xiao Chengquan's gaze was sharp and unwavering as he declared firmly, "No need. My relationship with the Crown Prince is excellent." "Fine. Consider my previous words unsaid. We're even." I led Jiang Yihuai into the inn, closing the door behind us once we entered the room. He cornered me, his expression cold and unreadable, his voice laced with menace. "What did you promise him?" "Nothing. Found someone new and forgot the old love." He kept nudging me with his knee from time to time. "I haven't." I waved my hands in denial. "Xiao Chengquan and I are completely innocent." In an instant, he lowered his head and kissed me, biting down hard until the taste of blood spread between our lips and tongues. Again, he trapped me in his embrace, whispering in my ear with a hint of choked emotion, "Chu Yin, I won't allow you to like anyone else." I pecked kisses at him like a chick pecking at rice. "I only like you." Jiang Yihuai is truly a jealous soul. It took me ages to coax him before I could smooth his ruffled feathers. Now that plans have changed and my identity has been exposed, there's no telling if Xiao Chengquan might target Seventh Sister. I absolutely cannot let her take such risks. The surroundings are heavily guarded, with Seventh Sister under tight surveillance. Even if I wanted to work with Xiaoyi to swap her out, I'm powerless to do so. I had no choice but to have Jiang Yihuai devise a way to smuggle me into Seventh Sister's side as her palace-maid companion. Before leaving, Jiang Yihuai asked me, "Why must you always be the one taking risks?" By the Emperor's command, he gently touched my face and said, "Wait for me, I'll find a way." The next day when we entered the palace, it was Crown Prince Xiao Chengjing who received us. He bore some resemblance to Xiao Chengquan, though he didn't appear particularly bright. I asked Seventh Sister to compliment Crown Prince Xiao Chengjing, and she stammered through her praise. "I've long heard that His Highness the Crown Prince is graceful and elegant. Now that I've seen him, he truly lives up to the rumors of his extraordinary bearing. If anyone were fortunate enough to marry the Crown Prince, they would indeed be blessed. Do you like me? Damn it, why is everyone in this Xiao family cut from the same cloth?" The Seventh Sister twisted her two index fingers hidden in her sleeves together. "Your Highness the Crown Prince." "I am not," I interrupted. "Princess Changhe is to marry the ruler of the country. What's the big deal? I'll go beg Father Emperor. Having you marry me instead would be just the same." With that, he turned and walked away dashingly. "What should I do, Royal Sister?" "Don't worry, your Royal Sister will handle everything." As the situation grew increasingly uncontrollable, all we could do was wait and see. When night fell, Seventh Sister neither entered the palace nor was any edict of enfeoffment delivered. Xiao Chengquan had arrived, and in my panic, I hid behind the beaded curtain. Through the curtain, I saw him bow to Changhe, announce his name, and then press the question, "Princess Changhe, why does the Crown Prince wish to marry you?" His phoenix eyes narrowed slightly as he scrutinized my Seventh Sister. "I don't know." "Oh," he curled his lips into a smirk, his eyes turning sinister. "Now he's been confined for 2 days because he sought to marry you. Tomorrow, it's my turn to escort you into the palace." Oh no, it suddenly dawned on me that this matter was far from simple. "Then I'll trouble you for your assistance. After meeting you today, I see you truly bear a 50% resemblance to Princess Xiaohua, as expected of sisters. What do you mean by this? My royal sister is far away in Shangjing. When could you have seen her? Don't tell me you've infiltrated Shangjing. Think what you will, just don't try and—
glimpsed a trace of heartache in her eyes. Among all our imperial sisters, fifth imperial sister is the most remarkable. Chang He folded her arms on my lap and, without realizing it, drifted peacefully into sleep. Xiao Han is dead. The Crown Prince's eastern palace has been besieged. Xiao Chenchuan is now the ruler of the nation. It's only been 5 days since Chang He and I entered the palace, yet the Qingming kingdom has already undergone a dynastic change. After asking around, I learned that the Crown Prince had poisoned the king with medicinal soup and was subsequently besieged by Xiao Chengchuan's troops. Now, he has been stripped of his title and reduced to a commoner. Now, one by one, the childless concubines are being served poisoned wine. The poisoned wine meant for Chang'e has now also been delivered to the Moonlight Palace. Consort Chang, drink up, the eunuch urged in his grating, duck-like voice, as if summoning her to the underworld. Wait. Xiao Chengchuan stepped into the Moonlight Hall first. By my decree, Consort Chang shall be escorted back to Shangjing by the envoy. I will draft a diplomatic agreement for the envoy to deliver to Shangjing's emperor. This is against protocol, Your Majesty. I am the ruler of this nation. I am the protocol. Xiao Chengchuan looked at me, raising his head high with a gentle smile that felt like a spring breeze. Xiao Chengchuan prepared provisions for us and even gifted us with specialties of the Qingming kingdom along with various precious gemstone jewelry. We arrived at the palace gate, and he personally saw us off. Now that we part, I truly don't know when we'll meet again. Jiang Yihuai warily stepped in front of me, but I pulled him to my side. Your Majesty, please don't take offense. I've long ceased to be surprised by anything, he said, glancing at Jiang Yihuai. If you weren't already promised to another, I'd have the Emperor of Shangjing send you here for a political marriage. Then I'll run too, I chuckled. My gaze shifted to Jiang Yihuai, who still wore a guarded expression. Seeing me laugh, his displeasure was evident, so I quickly schooled my features. Here, this is for you. Xiao Chengchuan placed the sachet in my hand. You carry the scent of roses. This sachet is made from the finest roses of Qingming Kingdom. I can't accept this. Can't this count as repaying your life-saving grace? I didn't dare look at Jiang Yihuai's expression, my hands trembling as I held the sachet. Then it settled. We're truly even from now on. Amen. He nodded faintly. We boarded the carriage and set off without a moment's delay. Jiang Yihuai and I sat alone in the carriage, his face dark with silence. Don't sulk. I hooked my pinky around Jiang Yihuai's, leaning into him. Weren't you laughing quite happily just now? I wasn't. I playfully reached for his hand, only for him to pull away instantly. What do you mean there isn't? He frowned. You even accepted someone's sachet. Then I'll throw it away. I clenched the sachet in my hand, pretending to toss it out of the carriage, but felt something odd inside. My hand paused mid-motion. What? Can't bear to part with it. No. I opened the sachet and only then discovered a small note inside. It was a letter written to me by Xiao Chengchuan, which read, to Her Highness Princess Xiaohua, thank you for saving my life. I was born to a palace maid who climbed into the emperor's bed, and have been my father's lifelong disgrace. From my youth, I've endured countless assassination attempts, all orchestrated by my imperial father. Even now, I cannot sleep peacefully. Every event that occurred in those days was planned by me alone. I drew close to Xiao Chengjing, compelling my father to marry me to the peacemaking princess from Shangjing as a diplomatic gesture, just to make Xiao Chengjing harbor murderous thoughts against the emperor because of beauty, the urge to kill. I had met Princess Chang'e long ago, which is why I planned it this way. Once the emperor dies, everyone I've used will die. Only your appearance was beyond my scheme. You are the morning sun, meant to shine high in the sky. You shouldn't be dragged into the mire of my troubles. No wonder he didn't want me involved too deeply. Jiang Yihuai noticed my unease and took the letter from my hand. Can you really love someone so desperately after just a few meetings? Don't misunderstand him. He's actually quite decent. At least he didn't let Chang'e die, so that makes him good enough. Jiang Yihuai's jealousy grew stronger as he snorted coldly. Then go back to him. I was just joking. I wrapped my arms around Jiang Yihuai's waist. Is my little vinegar bottle getting jealous again? I wasn't. His reddening eyes made my heart flutter, and I just wanted to tease him. Then give me a kiss. No, you used to kiss me before. Jiang Yihuai stared at my face for a long time. When I met his gaze, he averted his eyes, as if ashamed of himself. What's wrong? It's nothing. He nudged me. when we reached the next resting post, though I called to him several times. His responses to me remained indifferent. At night, he lay beside me on his side, his back turned to me, a lump of frustration stuck in my chest, impossible to swallow down. With a now or never resolve, I climbed on top of him and pinned him down. Jiang Yihuai, enough with this tantrum already. This princess commands you. Stop being angry right now. I'm not angry. Jiang Yihuai's eyes darted away again as he turned his head aside. My family background, looks, and character are all inferior to Xiao Chengchuan. You don't think you're unworthy of me, do you? Jiang Yihuai nodded. I'm too petty. I hate how he looks at you. Hate how you smile at him. Even hate that you saved his life. Everything about you in the Qingming kingdom, I know none of it. Even when you were in danger, I was powerless, not knowing how to save you. And I was even more afraid you'd think me useless and fall for someone else. Amidst my tangled thoughts, I realized Jiang Yihua had changed. He cared more about his place in my heart now. The room was unlit, bathed only in the bright moonlight. Faintly, I could see his deep, pool-like eyes filled with helplessness and uncertainty. I gently brushed my lips against his. You're not worthless. You saved the people of Xiajiang. And you saved me. And I'll never like anyone else. When I looked at him again, tears had already rolled into the hollow of his ear. With a pitiful expression that tugged at my heart, I didn't know how to comfort him. He placed his hand behind my head, deepening the kiss between us. Yin, say you love me. I love you. The night rain fell, moistening all things, nestled in Jiang Yi's embrace. I didn't feel cold at all and slept peacefully until dawn. Upon returning to Shangjing, my father couldn't stop smiling after signing the diplomatic agreement. The epidemic in Xiajiang also gradually improved. No longer spreading to the border cities, the emperor wished to promote Jiang Yihuai to a third-rank official position, but he refused outright, insisting on resigning from office. Thanks to Jiang Yihuai's silver tongue, not only was I named crown princess, but I also became involved in state affairs, wielding significant power. Although many court officials initially opposed this move, Jiang Yihuai managed to persuade them one by one. The emperor truly put great effort into nurturing me. I was often summoned alone by the emperor to the imperial study to learn how to handle state affairs. Jiang Yihuai and I frequently made incognito inspection tours, discovering that many women were confined to their homes. In some impoverished areas, women had even fewer options, either sold by their parents to brothels for money, or married off casually to collect bride prices, endlessly bearing children for their husbands' families while also learning needlework to support the household. They had no freedom to study, let alone the freedom of human rights. I established a women's school, allowing women to step beyond the inner courtyards and broaden their horizons. The emperor also issued a decree to add special imperial examinations for women, enabling them to earn scholarly honors and serve as officials in the imperial court. In the second year of my reign as crown princess, I became pregnant. Yet I didn't experience the slightest discomfort. It was Jiang Yihuai who suffered morning sickness and evening nausea. After handling court affairs, I still had to rub his back at night. Holding a bowl of warm water, I brought it to his side, still feeling unwell. Yin, you go to sleep first. Jiang Yihuai drank the water, gently tucked me in, then covered his mouth and rushed out, only returning after vomiting. I gradually grew drowsy, but his repeated nighttime trips kept disturbing my rest. I suggested sleeping in separate rooms, but he disagreed. His temper grew worse by the day, the gentle demeanor long gone. He cried often, threw tantrums, his emotions wildly unstable. Occasionally he'd suffer nausea, his body noticeably thinner. I went about my business as usual, eating with great appetite and enjoying excellent health, as if the child was the one he carried. Even the royal physicians couldn't cure his condition completely, only advising me to keep the prince consort company more often. As my pregnancy advanced, I stopped handling court affairs and devoted myself to accompanying the prince consort, which finally brought some improvement to his symptoms. On the day my child was born, I suffered a difficult labor with massive bleeding and immediately passed out. By the time I woke up again, half a month had passed, and the baby was nearly a month old. Jiang Yihuai sat by my bedside, disheveled, his hair even greasy, his eyes devoid of any vitality. Only when he saw me wake did a glimmer of light return to his eyes. Clutching my hand tightly as if he had regained what was lost, my hoarse voice spoke. Where's the child? Why, don't you ask how I've been these past few days? Jiang Yihuai pouted, tears rolling down one by one. He's already a father, yet he still keeps crying like this. How have you been these past few days? Not good. He kissed the back of my hand, his eyes filled with tenderness. Our daughter looks like me. I can't bear to think how I would miss you if you were gone. I won't die so easily. I barely had the strength to speak now, wanting to wipe away his tears but unable to muster the energy. What's our daughter's name? Did you name her yet? Huiro, he sniffled. When you were hemorrhaging during childbirth. All the palace princesses were worried about you, pacing outside the hall. While you were unconscious, they sent many tonics and took turns caring for Huiro. Xiaoyi brought the medicinal soup. While the crown princess was unconscious, the consort spent his days chanting scriptures in the Buddhist hall, praying to the gods. At night, he tended to the crown princess without even undressing, staying awake all night for fear of missing the moment she might wake up. You've suffered much. Yin, I'm just glad you're still here. That makes everything bearable. He kissed the back of my hand again, warm tears falling onto my skin. You're a father now, no more crying, I whispered weakly in response. At some point, Changhe had brought Honghui into the hall, holding Huiro in her arms. Honghui approached my bedside. Sister, pretty, she pointed at me, then immediately poked Huiro. Huiro, also pretty. Amidst this heartwarming scene, I unexpectedly felt a pang of sorrow. Jiang Yihui helped me up, his long, distinct knuckled fingers pressing down the swaddle that covered her little face. Only then did I clearly see her features. She looked so much like Jiang Yihui, with only the ears resembling mine. Yes, Huiro is truly beautiful. The end.